1905 to 1982, was a Russian-American writer and philosopher. She is best known for her two best-selling novels, The Fountainhead, 1943, and Atlas Shrugged, 1957, and for developing a philosophical system she called objectivism. Rand's work is characterized by her vehement advocacy for individualism and capitalism, and her opposition to collectivism, statism, and altruism. Rand was born Elisa Zinovievna Rosenbaum in St. Petersburg, Russia, into a middle-class Jewish family. The early years of her life were marked by the political turmoil of Russia. Her family suffered significantly under the Bolshevik regime. Rand was deeply opposed to the Russian Revolution, and the experience of living through this period had a profound effect on her political and philosophical ideas. In the early 1920s, Rand attended the University of Petrograd, where she studied history and philosophy. In 1926, she emigrated to the United States, initially residing with relatives in Chicago and later moving to Hollywood to pursue a career as a screenwriter. She eventually settled in New York City. Rand's first major literary success came with her novel, The Fountainhead, which was initially rejected by several publishers but eventually became a bestseller. The book's protagonist, Howard Rourke, is an architect who chooses to struggle in obscurity rather than compromise his artistic vision, and he became a model for Rand's philosophy of objectivism. Rourke is portrayed as the epitome of the creative individualist, standing firm against the conformist masses and corrupt institutions. Atlas Shrugged, Rand's most extensive statement of her philosophy in fictional form, depicts a dystopian United States and follows the story of the country's most productive individuals going on strike against a corrupt and overbearing government. The novel culminates in a lengthy monologue by the character John Galt, where Rand's philosophy is laid out in explicit terms. Rand's philosophy, objectivism, is a comprehensive system that encompasses a view of metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, politics, and aesthetics. She held that reality is an objective absolute, and that reason is the only means of understanding it. In ethics, she argued for rational self-interest as the guiding principle of action, rejecting both religious and secular versions of altruism. Politically, she advocated for laissez-faire capitalism, which she considered the only system that fully respects individual rights. She believed that the role of government should be strictly limited to functions such as maintaining a police force to protect individual rights, a military to defend against external threats, and a court system to enforce contracts and adjudicate disputes. Rand's ideas have been highly controversial and are often polarizing. Critics accuse her of being overly simplistic, dogmatic, and lacking in compassion for the less fortunate. However, her works have had enduring popularity, particularly in the United States, where they have been embraced by various political figures, business leaders, and grassroots activists, especially within the libertarian movement and some segments of the conservative movement. Though Rand considered herself primarily a fiction writer, her philosophical ideas have had a substantial influence, especially among American libertarians and conservatives. Despite her death in 1982, her books continue to sell well, and her ideas remain a significant, if controversial, force in American political and cultural life.